Imagine your job was waking up whole of UAE every single morning. Imagine the level of energy that would take. Imagine the person doing it right now. That person is Nimi Mehta, and she's with us on BehenCode. So please welcome Nimi Mehta. Hi, Nimi.
Yay! Hi, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Oh, I'm so good, so good. It's been crazy the last few months, as it has been for everyone. But,
Right.
it's times like this where you're kind of like just grateful you're healthy and you're good and you're happy.
Right. I know. So you are this fellow Gujarati girl who has grown up in the UK and not in India. So it feels like, wow, you are every Desi girl's dream, right? If we imagine ourselves being NRIs or, Brits for that matter, we would be a lot like you. And honestly, see, I've lived in the UAE for a couple of years and I've seen a lot of people with, different accents. But I have no idea why. I really like yours. And the way you say Nimi Mehta is so cute. Like, I just want to keep listening to you.
You're so sweet. It's so funny that you say that because I hate my voice.
I have no idea why all the radio jockeys keep saying that they hate their voice. Like, I love it. And one more thing that I love about you is, like, see, either you are a Priyanka Chopra fan or you aren't. But take it in a positive way. I have really, started liking Priyanka Chopra now because you see that ambition in her eye. You know that she's on a purpose. We don't know what it is, but she's got some kind of determination. She's on a mission. And I feel the same way about you. Like, you're doing one thing after another. Like, you moved from UK to UAE for radio, and then you got married. And that too not conventionally. You're living life on your terms. You're breaking all the rules,
Yeah.
So that's so amazing to see. And I feel that you're this girl on mission. So
it's amazing. I'm so glad that comes across as well, because I 100% am. Sometimes I think my ambition is too much. It's what drives me crazy, but I wouldn't change it for the world. So thank you so much for those kind words.
Yeah, and I think when you say it's too much, it really isn't. If we see a man doing that, we say, oh wow, he's so ambitious. But as women, and especially women of Indian origin, we are, I think, conditioned to sort of think that, oh no, this is too much.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like, we're put in a box a lot of the time.
Exactly.
And we're stereotyped, and, anything that is outside of the box is considered, oh, it's dodgy, you don't even try it. I mean, for me, even to become a presenter, even though I am brought up in the UK and, with a modern Western community, there was still, people in my family that were like, are you sure? Are you sure you want to do that? That's not a normal job. That's not a normal career. And that's just because of our culture.
Right. Exactly. So, okay, Nimi, let's get started from where it all began. You grew up in the UK as this Gujarati Indian girl, right? And look at UK as the whole culture. It's totally different. And for you to move from the Indian origin to somebody finding her own ground in the UK.
Yeah, it was interesting because it was a complete clash of cultures, and I felt that especially at school. I was one of, I think, 4 Indian people in my school, so I was surrounded by people who didn't even look like me majority of the time. But I found it tough because a lot of the stuff in the Western community that was happening would 100% not be acceptable to my parents or my culture, in terms of just the way that, from a young age, they would go out, they would go and do things, they would go to clubs or get fake IDs, that for me was like, no. And so I was torn between, creating a life for myself and creating friends, but also, of course, like all of us are conditioned to, is to make our parents proud.
Right.
So I thought what was so important, and I have to give my parents prop for this, is just like keeping me so grounded throughout this all, the roots and being so close to your family. I think that was the most important thing for me. It was definitely a clash. There was times where I would rebel, which my parents were probably thinking this wouldn't happen if we were in India. But I mean, no, I'm so lucky actually that I get to get the best of 2 cultures,
right,
with the UK and with my Indian heritage.
Right. So, like you said, you would rebel against, your parents' values, and then what you're doing is right, but it's just that they don't understand it, right? So, how
Yeah.
did that happen, and how would you manage those times? Because sometimes what we do may or may not necessarily resonate with our parents, and we know that we are not wrong. So, taking a stand at those points and not feeling guilty. How did you
Yeah.
go about that?
It's so tough. I think it's about having a transparent relationship with your parents. I'm so lucky. My parents are the first generation here in the UK. My grandparents were born in India. My parents were actually born in Uganda, in East
Wow.
Africa. So
Okay.
they moved over to the UK when they were, 5-6 years old. So
Okay.
majority of their life, of course, they've been here in the UK. But luckily, I had very modern parents in the sense that they realized that they weren't going to try to raise me and my sister like they were raised. What they realized was we need to learn the mistakes of our parents and the pros and cons of their parenting ways,
Right.
and kind of implement them with me and my sister. And again, communication was so important. I mean, it's my parents, they don't take me wrong, they also were very more strict with me being the eldest. So I was restricted a lot of the time. No, you can't go on the train until you're over 18. This is just to go down the road. You can't even walk down the road on your own. My sister, 3 years younger than me, got so much more than I did.
Right.
And I was happy about it. I wasn't bitter. I was just like, I was the one actually speaking to my mum and dad and saying, just let her go. Things have changed now, relax. But again, it was just, I think as children, we have to be so conscious of, okay, yes, 100% they're so protective, but also we have to, as long as we are still following the rules, I think that is so important as well. Yes, for me, a kid could say, no, I think it's right that I should go to a party where there's alcohol and drugs. But that's not right. It's not. You just want to do it because you're young and you just want to get out there and you don't want to miss out. People have the fear of missing out.
Right.
And I, even to this day, even reaching 30, I actually have, instead of FOMO, I have JOMO, which is the joy of missing out.
Which is also your jijaji, if I can use the term, and we will get to that very soon.
Oh, okay. So yeah, I love if I don't have to be somewhere. So I've never been that kid that feels like they have to be, a part of everything. But yeah, 100%. I mean, parenting has just been, they're still learning to this day. They can't quite accept that they have a 30-year-old daughter. Me and my husband are here under their roof at the moment because of everything, the COVID-19 situation.
Right.
So they're still like treating me like I'm a little baby. I'm like, I'm a grown woman now. I have a husband. You have to take me seriously.
Wow. Okay. So Nimi, you've I think you were born also in the UK, is it?
Yeah.
So you're born and brought up in the UK, and then you moved to the UAE. So a lot of people don't know. We worked in the same station. When I left, you entered. But
yeah,
I know you, right? Because I follow the station still, right? And you are friends with my ex-colleague, Dalia. And I see this big group of girls that you kind of built your support system in the UAE. So what I'm intrigued about is, how did this happen from UK to UAE? What's the story there?
It's a crazy story, actually, because I didn't even consider radio as a profession, as a job option for myself. I was a TV presenter with MTV UK, which was amazing. And I just always knew I wanted to be a TV presenter in front of the camera. And then there was a local station here where I live in Watford. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to join. I'm just going to try and diversify, expand my skill set. And I mean, within less than a year, I get offered a job to do a national breakfast show in Abu Dhabi.
Wow.
And so I fly over, and it wasn't even a question, by the way. So, with my parents and everything, I grew up always going to Dubai on holiday and my dad's business trips and stuff. So I was always accustomed to the UAE and what it stands for and its beauty. And so I just knew that one day I wanted to go there. I just didn't know how. And I actually remember 2-3 years before I got the Channel 4 job, I was unemployed. I was in my bed. I was crying. I was so sad. And I was like, Mom, am I ever going to be someone? Like, am I ever going to reach my goals? Am I ever going to do what I want to do? And she was like, 100%, 100%. And I remember sitting in my bed, the laptop open, and I was on channel4fm.com.
Wow.
And this was 3 to 4 years before I even got the job. And I remember seeing the presenter lineup, and I remember just thinking, like, I want to work there so bad. Like, I want to be one of those faces on the lineup. And then jump to 3-4 years later, you know, I believe in manifestation so much that you vision what you want for yourself, and it comes to you. And there I am now fronting the breakfast show with JJ on Channel 4. And it's been amazing. You know, moving to the UAE was tough, leaving family behind, as you know, as well. As Indians, we're so close to our families, and to leave their side is a big thing. I just knew it's what I had to do. And my parents knew it was what I had to do. It wasn't even a question. My husband, who at the time was, I believe, my fiance at the time. No, he was just my boyfriend. But he was so supportive as well. And yeah, I moved over, and I'm like an introvert. I don't, you know, what you hear on the radio is like someone who's like full of energy. And that is definitely me. It's an authentic version of me. But I'm also, you know, you wouldn't believe that if there's events and stuff, I don't really want to go. I just want to sit at home. I like my peace and quiet. If my friends want to see me, listen, I don't want to go to a party. You come and sit with me, and we sit one-on-one and have conversations. Wow. So I'm definitely more like that. So the adjustment to friends was really difficult for me, because also growing up in the area I grew up in here in North London is I am surrounded by friends who are exactly like me. So of the same status, of the same, you know, they are all Indian. I've grown up with them since I was 15 years old. And then to jump to the UAE where, you know, it's like people all different, right? You don't know anyone, all different cultures. You know, like you said, now I have a friend who's from Egypt, Dalia, who I never would have thought I would be friends with, because where on earth am I going to be friends with someone from Egypt? And then there's Jacob, who's like a young 21-year-old boy from Australia. It's just like this group of people together, just beautiful people, and they've really opened my mind up to what the world is all about as well. So there's definitely nothing negative I have to say about, you know, the transition and moving over to the UAE.
Wow. So Nimi, as you rightly mentioned that, you know, you are an introvert, but when you're on radio, you were this full high energy person, right? And that's the same with me. Like, I used to be this extreme extrovert, and from that I've, you know, become this introvert person. But still, when I'm on my podcast, there is not one person who will say that I'm not an extrovert. But then that's true, right? So how do you think that is, what that is?
Oh, it's so strange. I think it's actually such a beautiful thing, because I get to be two versions of myself, but I'm unapologetic about it. And that's the best thing about it, right? Exactly. So yes, when you're on the radio or when you're doing a podcast, you're putting your all into it, right? And I speak about this all the time. So our radio show is 4 hours in the morning. But imagine, you know, a normal job is 9 to 5. You stretch out your energy in terms of putting your energy into the job from 9 to 5 throughout the day. However, with us, it's a compact 4 hours. So you imagine after that 4 hours, we are exhausted. There's like a big come down, because we're just like, wow, we've just put like all our energy of the day into 4 hours. Right. And then after that, you know, I think it's so important for people to understand. That's why your circle is so important, right? And the people that you hang out with, that they know that they don't expect when they see you face to face that you're going to be the person that was on the radio. You know, they know that that's kind of like an alter ego of yours that, you know, and by the way, even if you're not a presenter, no matter what industry you're in, whether you're at a networking event, whether you're at a meeting doing a presentation, you become a different version of yourself. And it's such a beautiful thing to see yourself do that, right? This is why I always recommend people like film themselves, because they don't realize or remember that they actually did that. You know, they always see something different. So yeah, and then moving over to the introvert side, I don't know. I was so insecure as a young girl growing up. And I was always so conscious about my weight and how I looked and how I put myself out there, my projection. I was so self-conscious. And that's why even to this day, my mom actually in her wedding speech said, how I'm so proud that a girl who was so insecure, so quiet. I mean, I wouldn't even talk to anyone. I wouldn't even at the restaurant. I would get my younger sister to order me a glass of water because I couldn't ask for it myself. I just had no confidence. And then you go from that to now someone who is speaking to hundreds and thousands of people every single morning. It's like, how did that happen? But really it's that, and it sounds so cliche and it sounds so ridiculous, it's that self-belief and that vision that you can do it. And again, it's your parents, it's the people around you that are like, believe in you more than you believe in yourself. I think that's the most important thing.
Wow, that is so amazing. And you know, this is why I really like you, that you really struggled with confidence, and now look at you. There is not a single person who will say that, you know, Nimi Mehta is not a confident person, right? In fact, they would get insecure about their confidence level if they stand with you. So that is so amazing. And that's for your career, Nimi. But talking about your wedding and your marriage, but before we jump on to your marriage, let's talk about your weddings. I cannot imagine how you managed to look the bomb.com on all of your weddings, because I've seen all of your outfits and I'm like, how is this woman doing it? She's living in Dubai. Her wedding is happening in UK, in Greece, and this lady, I have no idea how much energy she must have to go to Meena Bazaar, to pick up the materials, to give it to a tailor, to explain it to him that, you know, this is the kind of jumpsuit dress that I want, because there is, you know, no one else who has done that before you, or that designer lehenga that you want. And I have no idea, like, how much effort does it take, how much coordination it takes, plus your family has to do up and down with you for all the preparations, all the, you know, bookings, because your Greece wedding was like a dream.
It really
How did
was.
you manage all that? Like, tell me about it.
Goodness. It was crazy. First of all, because I was living in Dubai and I was so away from all of this, the first wedding in the UK I had zero to do with. Luckily, you know, my husband is Sikh, Punjabi, so his family took over the UK wedding and they just dealt with that, which was great news for me because I was busy at work. I flew in a week before, but I got all my outfits, as you said, from Meena Bazaar. I knew what I wanted, and that's the thing. When it comes to us brides, like, we really, like, when we see something else, we're like, oh wait, you get so confused. But I just knew what I wanted, and I was very clear with my vision. And I'm also someone who doesn't like to hang about too much, so I'm not going to look at option 2, 3, 4, 5. If I like option 1, I'm just sticking with it. My mummy came to Dubai, and we did so many trips to the shops. I mean, exhausting. I was doing the radio show in the morning, so I was up from 4 a.m. I would finish the show, I would come home, I would take an hour's nap, and then we would be out until 9-10 p.m. getting everything done. And at the same time getting, like, my husband's outfit, my dad's outfits, my sister's outfits, everyone, you know. So
I'm tired just listening to you. I cannot imagine how you did it.
I know, but actually, like, this is the good thing about the Greece wedding is my mum is just an absolute machine, and she, you know, teamed up with my wedding planners, and she did the most amazing job. She did most of the hard work. Again, I was in Dubai doing, like, all my work, so I was so busy and distracted.
Right.
But yeah, even in terms of those outfits, you know, in Dubai, getting it all done, it was crazy. It was so much fun, but it was just so worth it. Now I wish I could go back, and I have no regrets. Actually, for the Sikh wedding, I actually realized 2 days before my vidhi that I don't want to wear one of the outfits. And I was like, I can't see myself in that. I'm not happy. I will not like it. So we ran to a place called Southall here in the UK, went into one of the shops. I found this, like, beautiful mint outfit, and then I just decided to go with that. And then for the Greece wedding, my wedding set had gone missing, and no one could find it in the house. I was in Dubai. And you
also forgot your laptop, right? On the airport.
Yeah, I forgot my laptop at the airport, and it was just like everything was going wrong. And my dad was laughing at the airport because I'd sat down on the plane, and I looked to my right and I looked to my left, and I just go to my dad, Dad, I think I've left my laptop. And my mum was freaking out. And I just sat there like really calmly. And I was like, it's okay. Nothing can be done now. I'm not going to stress myself out, because if I do, I'm just going to crumble. I'm not going to let it get to me, because I feel like everything was a test. But yeah, I mean, even not finding my wedding set, we had to run last minute to get a different set. Honestly, the drama that happened, but you wouldn't be able to tell, of course, afterwards.
Yeah.
But it was just all so worth it. And I'm so lucky that I got to have the wedding of my dreams.
Wow. And not just the wedding, you're also acing your marriage. I mean, yours is like, I used to think it's only Kareena Kapoor who's, you know, a progressive family. But look at you and your husband, and a big shout out to him. We need more men to follow him and be like him. So you guys are married, and you still live in the UAE, and he still lives in the UK. And from how much I've gathered, he's going to move to the UAE for you.
Yes,
How amazing is that?
I know. He's incredible.
Touch wood.
We've been, yeah, touch wood, it happens. He's amazing. We've been together for over 10 years now. I met him when I was 18, going on 19. And, you know, he has always been so supportive of my career, of everything. I mean, by the way, he was with me when I was no one. You know, he was with me when I was unemployed. He was with me when I was insecure and I felt like I was overweight and I hated my skin and everything. He was with me throughout it all. And then, you know, yeah, we've been long distance for the last 3-4 years now. Again, so supportive. He's become a man on his own as well. He's a dentist, so he's doing his thing. But never once was it, you know, even a question that he would move over to Dubai. So we're excited for that to be happening the end of this year. Fingers crossed, inshallah, it'll happen. We're also prepared for any surprises. Thank you. Thank you.
Dubai does take you by surprise, but then it's all good in the end. Once you are there, you don't want to come back. Like, I've lived all my life in India. I was there for 2-3 years. And I feel like I don't know I've lived in India. I don't know how I lived. And it's such a struggle.
Yeah, it really is. You don't remember life before. Like, I can't remember much of life before Dubai, because that's just like my thing now. I can't even imagine leaving it. So him moving over, I'm so excited for it. And, you know, I think it's so important for girls to really, really think about what kind of partner they want, because I don't think that we are allowed to think about it most of the time. We're kind of conditioned in our culture that the guy chooses the girl, you know? And, you know, now more and more women, especially of Indian descent, are becoming stronger. They are becoming more independent. And that's another thing I want to say, is that you never want to go into a partnership or a relationship relying on someone else.
Right.
And that is something I never wanted to do. I want to be independent. I want my own name. I want to pay my own bills. I don't want anyone to be able to turn around to me and say that they've done something for me. So I think that's so important. And also, when you look at your partner, you want them to be your best friend. You don't want them to be someone who doesn't understand you. Relationships are hard. You know, my relationship is amazing and I'm so lucky, but it's hard. It's so hard.
It takes a lot of work.
Yeah, you work at it, and you know, everyone's relationships are different, but it's respect, trust, and friendship that is really, really the roots of it.
Wow. And then when you announced this, that, you know, I'm going to still live in the UAE because that's where my career is. And what a lot of people don't understand is that Dubai is really the land of opportunities, no matter where in world you are, right? Mm-hmm. And leaving this once in a lifetime opportunity is not easy, right? And you chose to, you know, stand by your decision. So did it come easy for your family to accept that, okay, she's not going to leave this and he's going to move there? Or were they like always supportive, or were there conflicts around that? And if there were, then how did you manage that?
Well, when we found out that it might be like a year or two until he can actually move, even after our wedding, my dad was, you know, bless him, really worried. And of course, as a parent would be, that, oh, how will they do this? You know, no, they have to be together straight away, because what are we used to in our culture? That, you know, you literally straight after your wedding, the girl is straight into the guy's house and that's it.
Yes.
Right. Very different our situation. And my dad was really worried, and he was like, you know, I really think you should consider that maybe you might need to move back to the UK. And I was like, this is not even an option. I'm not even gonna, I love you, Dad, and I know that you want the best for me, but I've worked way too hard to get to where I am, and I'm not gonna give that up for anyone. And someone else might have done it differently. They might have said, my relationship is more important. But I think what that comes down to is I had trust and belief in my relationship, and I wasn't worried. I had a husband that was saying, we're going to be fine, don't worry. He was even the one that said, no way, you're not moving back to the UK. You've got to continue doing what you're doing.
Wow.
So it was, there were a lot of conversations like that, of course. And then extended family members, like, not really understanding it. What do you mean? Wait, you live in a different country and your husband lives in a different country. And I'm like, yeah, what's so hard to believe? We're working through it. We're good. Okay. You don't need to worry about it. So it's about actually me coming to terms with and making peace with the fact that I don't need to explain my relationship to anyone. Wow. As long as me and my husband understand it and we're happy with it and we're content, it shouldn't matter. So yeah, a lot of conversations happened, but at the end of the day, you do what you want to do, because then you can't turn around in a year's time and say, blame someone for your choices. You only have yourself to blame.
Right. Wow. So Nimi, looking at your social media, I have my perceptions of your high points, but the best moments and the worst moments never go on social media, right? Mm-hmm. So share them with us. What has been your best moment in life? Like only one. And what has been your lowest, darkest time? And you thought, oh, man, I'm not going to get through this. I don't think I can do this. I think I am done. This is the dead end.
My lowest moment was actually, I would say, mid-year last year. It was kind of like in between my weddings. And you would never think so, because I've got so much to look forward to. But I remember I was alone. I was in my flat and I had all the lights off and I was crying. I was just crying because I was so unhappy, and I was unhappy because I felt like my career wasn't going the way I wanted it to, because I have such high ambitions for myself and I felt like I wasn't achieving it, and I wanted to do so much more. And I felt like I wasn't doing it. And so then I got to a point also, I'm like, well, look, you're not getting to where you want to get to. And look what you've sacrificed. You're not with your family and friends. You're not with your husband. What are you doing, Nimi? I was kind of like shaking myself, like, is this UAE dream over? Like, should you now just go back? Should you move back and be happy and content? I was even to this point where I was like, I'm happy if I'm just a housewife. I'll just pop loads of babies out and I'll be fine. No. But it was a really, really low point where I started to consider my options. And after a few conversations with very important people in my life, I just picked myself back up. And, a lot of people don't realize this. Yes, you do. You're right. You see all the like happy, beautiful moments on my Instagram, but you don't see the, me coming home to nothing. You don't see, we've worked so hard during the day that we don't eat. You don't see so many of the things that it's actually quite a lonely life that I've chosen. I've actually chosen the harder route. Exactly. What would have been easier was to be at home in the UK and just be looked after by my husband. But this is where ambition is a dangerous thing as well. It's a beautiful thing, but it's dangerous, because when is it ever enough? For someone to see me hosting the National Breakfast Show on Channel 4, that's like, she's made it, right? Exactly. What has she got to worry about? But in my mind, I'm like, no, that's just step one. I'm like, I've got so much more I want to achieve. And so it got really frustrating when I wasn't achieving that. Yeah, I had some really low moments last year. And with all the wedding stuff going on, it was pressure. It was, knowing that everything in my life was going to change. And, my current situation, I'm lucky that I live on my own. I have to just worry about myself. If I have to work till late, then that's fine. I come home. But, now with my husband moving over, I have to take into consideration someone else's life and someone else's feelings, someone else's schedule. So there's going to be a lot of adjustments. We'll have a conversation in 6 months' time, and I'm sure I'll have a different answer. But yeah, you're totally right. I actually tend to share a lot of my high moments on my Instagram, because I just feel like that's so important. I love taking my followers on a journey with me. Whether that's, when I vlogged my wedding, or when I'm hosting stages with Steve Harvey. Like, I want to show everyone the hustle behind it, not just the glitz and glamour
Right.
of it all. So yeah, I do love I actually agree. Me and my friend Dalia were actually talking about this yesterday. We said, imagine if there was another platform like Instagram that allowed you to show the lows of your life.
Exactly. That's what we need.
Yeah.
Why my podcast strikes a chord with people is because I don't believe in, sharing success stories as much as I embrace failure stories. Because, we all know that Nimi Mehta has succeeded and she is what she is, and we know where she can be. But what we don't know is that she's also like us. She's also struggling. She's had body issues. She's had confidence issues. Despite of having one of the best jobs in Dubai, she still is questioning herself. And that's the reality, right? No matter where you are, what you do.
100%. I often think about even like people like Beyonce or Mariah Carey, and they are huge public figures, and a lot of the time what do you realize is these people, there's so much sadness there.
Exactly.
And you hear about all over the world, celebrities losing their lives and giving up because they're so unhappy. It looks amazing from the outside, but maybe it's just not all it's built up to be. And it's sad, but that's why, again, everything comes down to your circle and the people around you that support you.
Exactly. So, Nimi, talking about the lowest point, imagine going back to that night and talking to that Nimi who was crying in that house. What are you going to tell her? What have you learned?
Oh my goodness. Well, first of all, 100% don't give up, because you've got so much coming your way. That this moment is truly going to build you. You may not feel it at the time. You may feel like this is it. And yes, the easy road would be to just give everything up, but you're not built for that. You're built for so much more. I remember I was like 7 years old, and we were talking, for some reason, me, my mom, my dad, my sister, we were talking about fears and like things that we're most scared of. And my mom asked me, she was like, Nimi, what do you most scared of? And I remember saying, this is like a 7-8-year-old child. And I said, my biggest fear is not being someone. And she still to this day says, who did you think you were saying that at that age? And when I say that, and I still stand by that. And by the way, when I say someone, I don't mean a celebrity or rich and famous. I mean, you could be at a supermarket stocking shelves up and still someone. You could be, sweeping the streets and still be someone. I meant like, I just knew I had a purpose. I just knew I had this deep gut feeling that I needed to use my voice for good. And I didn't know how that was going to happen. And initially I thought it was TV presenting. And now that it's become a radio thing, I'm literally only using my voice. So, I think that what I would say to that girl is, remember why you started this. Like, never forget why you started this. You were a girl that just had a vision, and you stick to that vision. And to this day, I still have to keep reminding myself, I'm almost 30 years old. And even when I have moments of like, oh, I can't be bothered, or why am I doing this? Or I'm not enjoying this anymore. Just keep remembering why you wanted to do this in the first place. And that will keep you going for sure.
Wow. And Nimi, I've noticed that it's not just you who thinks this way. I think it's also the people around you in your family. Your husband, he started ethical dentist, right? I mean, how amazing it is that he wants to virtually consult people who cannot afford dentistry treatments, right? So that is him. Then you have a sister, Radhi Devlukia Shetty now, right? She's so amazing. She promotes veganism, right? And then there is Jay Shetty, who needs no introduction, right?
Oh, absolutely.
All of you, like, how is it that pura talent ek hi family mein? All of you in the same family. What is this? Was this like bachpan ka sapna, some teamwork that, you manage veganism, I'm going to manage radio, I'm going to take up dentistry, and you be the spiritual guru. So what? Like, was this a plan or what?
It's honestly crazy. I grew up with 7 sisters on my dad's side and 6 sisters on my mum's side. And we just, all of us, you know, even a lot of my sisters who don't have necessarily names for themselves out in the public are doing incredible things and in their own field. You know, one, I just want to run you through it quickly. One of them is, you know, she is one of the youngest people in the UK to become an MP at the age of 24. She's in politics.
Wow.
We have my sister Ravina, who is a humanitarian, and she gives, right now she's working at refugee kitchens to make sure she feeds people who can't afford it right now.
Wow.
I've got another sister who is a pharmacist who's taking over her dad's business and the family business. And I've got one sister who wants to work for NASA. It's crazy. The skill and talent.
Yeah.
But we ask ourselves this all the time when we're sitting around and when we're just talking as sisters. We're like, how has this happened?
Exactly.
Right? How has this happened? And I think about it, and again, it comes down to our parents and the generations before us. They worked so hard to get us to where we can be, that we don't want that momentum to stop. We want to keep it going and take it even further. So yeah, we're so lucky actually to have these people. Like we joke all the time, like Jay is incredible, you know.
Right.
He's not only my family, but he's a close friend of mine, and we talk all the time, and he's always giving me advice and, you know, Nimi, you should do this, sending me stuff like, come on, let's hang out, let's do this. He's honestly just one of the purest people I have ever met. And I met him before he was Jay Shetty. When he was a monk, I had met him. So, you know, to see that transition is amazing. And, you know, even for Radhi to do what she's doing, you know, it's amazing. I love them so much. And yeah, my husband, who decided to do ethical dentist during these times, it's all about serving people, right? And not having any selfish agendas. Anything that comes to you personally is a bonus. However, if you are affecting one life in a positive way, one life, 10 lives, or in Jay Shetty's case, millions of lives, then it's just a positive that you literally cannot ask for more. So we are very, very blessed as a family.
Wow. And more power to all of you guys, the ones that were popular and the ones that you mentioned are not so popular, but also they are, you know, flag bearers of the fields that they're working in. Wow, that is so amazing.
I know.
Nimi, what does the future look like? What are your next goals, personally and professionally?
I think professionally, I've always set out, you know, there are huge people in the market right now in the UAE that are just dominating it, and they have been for the last 10 years, and so much respect and love to them. But there is also, I feel like, not enough strong female voices in the UAE. And so I really want to set myself, that's what I've really just been working towards, is being that voice. You know, I started touring schools in the last few months before everything went into lockdown, but touring schools and talking to them about my experience and actually showing these kids that, by the way, it wasn't that I just woke up one morning and I became a Channel 4 presenter. I worked so hard for it. I was unemployed. You know, I tell them the whole story. So they break the stereotype that everything is easy and cushy and, you know, just happens overnight. So I really want to become that voice for people. I want to inspire them. I want to motivate them to be better. And it just feels amazing when these young girls come to me and they DM me, or they at the school come to me on stage afterwards and they're like, I want to be you. I want to be you. And I'm kind of like, that's amazing, but you should be me and then some. Like, you need to be better than me. Like, you need to just take everything that I want to give and then make it even better. So I really just want to inspire girls, and especially girls of color. I feel like there's, you know, minimal representation of us in the Western world, as well as, you know, in the UAE. It's just like, I just want to be that person for people. Jamila Jamil was that for me growing up, that I saw someone that, you know, has the same color skin as me, and I was like, oh wait, I can do it.
Exactly.
So I really want to do that for people. You know, I want people to see themselves in me and see that they can do it. That's my goals professionally. Personally, you know, I don't know where it's going to go. My husband's moving over. I'm so excited for that. I just want to build a home together. And, you know, I'm excited to come home to someone when I've had a stressful day, and someone to carry the load with me, you know, and he's so supportive like that. So no thought of children for a very long time, that's for sure. we want to
No,
kind of
don't worry.
conquer
I'm not
our
that Indian auntie who will ask, "Beta, शादी हो गई, बच्चे कब कर रहे हो?" No.
Oh man, no, definitely not. We just want to build a little life for ourselves first, and then we'll think about it.
Wow, that is awesome. So, Nimi, as a final question, what would you say to that girl who's tuned in right now, who is doubting herself, her abilities, and she wants to do something, but she's scared. She has a lot of insecurities. She's doubting herself. What do you want to say to her?
First of all, I want to say I completely know what you're going through, because I was that girl, and that girl still lives inside of me so much, because she likes to pop up every now and again and make me doubt myself. But I would say that you first of all need to, before you make any moves towards what you want to do, work on yourself. There's so many methods that I use when I have these voices talking to me, and that's writing a letter to myself. So I sit there, whether it's you want to write it with a pen and paper or just type it up, I type it up. I just write pages on pages to myself, and I date them. And then a month later, I look back on it, I read it word for word, and I actually see how far I've come. It's step by step, right? Nothing is going to happen overnight. And also, I want to say to you, this version of yourself is never going to leave you, and you shouldn't be trying to get rid of it, because that's what I think we get into the trap of, that, oh my goodness, no, you need to not be that and you need to be something else. No, there is so many versions of ourselves, right, that we need to embrace.
Right.
And I only started to succeed when I recognized that. When I recognized that this is a beautiful version of yourself, and that's okay if you're like that. But if you want to do what you want to do, which is, no matter what you want to do, even if you don't want to become a radio presenter, you just want to, be a teacher, or you want to be a driver, whatever it is that you want to be. I just think that, first of all, you need to do your research behind this, right? So you need to see who else is out there in the game doing what you want to be doing. Read about their stories. There's so many endless YouTube videos out there now, books that you can really just use your time wisely. And that's the thing as well. I got into a trap of, I'm the biggest procrastinator ever. So I'll say, like, I'm about to go do something, and I'll sit for hours before I actually do it. Using your time wisely. If you're not using your time for yourself, then you better be using your time towards helping someone else. I think that that's so important. So, I feel sad when I think about girls that are going through this right now, but trust me when I say, in 10 years time, and it sounds so far away, it sounds so like doomy and gloomy, like 10 years, oh my goodness, I'm going to be so old. But you will really, really find yourself. You're just in the process of it. You're at the beginning, and it's a beautiful thing. So embrace it for sure.
Wow, that is so amazing. And thank you so much, Nimi, for sharing all of your personal stories with us. This has been so amazing. I'm so motivated right now. I'm like, I'm actually contemplating if my goals are too small. And that is the effect that you have on the people that you talk to. And that is so amazing, which is why I had you on the show. So thank you so much for taking out the time and doing this.
100%. I have to say, you are so supportive, and I just love girls championing girls, no matter where we are in the world. And 100%. Thank you so much for having me, and for your kind words as well.
Thank you, Nimi.